Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome. And as we begin the countdown for the Bihar exit polls and the numbers here at the News 18 mega exit poll, viewers, there's been a deadly terror strike in the national capital and the 10-11 blast coverage will also be a part of this evening's special broadcast. Bihar, meanwhile, has fiercely fought the 2025 Assembly election and it's reached the most crucial juncture. Days of voting concluding in a short while from now. The state's long and heated campaign has formally given way to anticipation. Voters across 122 constituencies spread over 20 districts have cast their ballot through the day in the second phase of polling, rounding off a high-stakes contest that's seen intense rallies, sharp political messaging and heavy turnout in several regions. Shortly from now, we will get you the most accurate and most extensive poll numbers on Bihar Assembly elections too. But first up, a quick check on the voter turnout, where phase 1, if that was a record at 65%, phase 2 is a record in itself because till 5 p.m. it's already touched 67.14% turnout, and that will be only revised upwards by the time polls close around 6 p.m. till the last person in the line is allowed to cast their ballot, and those numbers could touch nearly 70%. Now 70% in this entire Simanchal region, largely these two U's, the 2C of the phase, the shape, the borderline areas, and there to have such high turnouts. What does the implication of this? Is this a one-way swing for the incumbent, or is there an anti-wave? There are those who have gone down to Bihar. There are others who've spoken to analysts and spoken to Biharis, spread all across the migrant voter base. All of these aspects come into play. Zaka Jacob with us, Rahul Shivshankar with us, Nistula Hebar, Rashid Kidwai and Rahul Verma with us here in the studio, along with our reporters also. We'll go across to them. Before we bring it inside here, just quickly going across to Arun Dhanta on ground. Oh, we'll go to him in a bit. Zaka Jacob, the numbers, how are they? Second phase, is this looking record?
I know we make a lot out of voter turnout data on the day the polls close, on the day of the exit polls, and then on counting day everybody forgets about it. But for whatever it's worth, it is a record turnout in Bihar. So this is the historical data that we have. So 2025, the first phase was 65%. Today we have 67% till 5 p.m. And I think, Anand, you're right, it could go up to 70%, maybe even upwards of 70%. So what we're effectively looking at is, somewhere in the high 60s, maybe 68 or 69% voter turnout eventually in the state of Bihar, which means if we end up with 68, 69, closer to 70% voter turnout in Bihar, that would be the highest that we've seen certainly in the last 25 years. The lowest was 46.5%, less than half in the year 2005. That, by the way, was the first election that Nitish Kumar won and became chief minister. It has been on an upward spiral ever since, 52, 56, 57. But this one would be a record. This would be a record. It would be higher than even, the ones that we saw when Lalu Prasad Yadav was in power in the 1990s. Of course, the familiar adage in Bihar at that time was a lot of it was ballot stuffing. But for the first time, I think we are looking at, 7 out of 10 voters coming out and voting in a state like Bihar in a free, fair, and may I say, entirely violence-free election. I think that's a great testimony.
Largely incident-free, violence-free election. Before we take it to the seated guests, along with our, of course, good friend on Take 3, Rahul Shivshankar, consulting editor 2. We'll go to him in a bit. Just quickly going across to Arun Dhata to understand and get a pulse of what happened on ground. Arun, what's the feeling on ground in terms of voter turnout? Are people saying this is unprecedented? Is it record tod?
Well, absolutely, Anand. I was in Simanchal region, as you were discussing, that it has a significant, political importance of that area. Of course, I was in two areas where I traveled today, Purnia and Katihar, and I could see the enthusiasm amongst the voters while they were standing, and thanks of course to the Election Commission, the way they conducted and the facilities which they provided to the voters in these areas, and therefore, in fact, the major issues which I found, because remember, Anand, 24 seats are very, very crucial in this area, in Simanchal region, and in 2012, NDA performed well by winning 12 seats. There was a polarization which worked in their favor. This time around, what is going to happen? Because see, Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, Yogi Adityanath, Rahul Gandhi, all of them, campaigned in this area very aggressively. The pitch of Prime Minister and Home Minister was about infiltration, demography change. And one thing that I have found, Anand, quickly, when I was speaking to the voters there, I felt this, the young voters, especially the girls who are studying there in the college, they're saying that law and order is a biggest catch for the voters. That they're saying that they can roam around in the evening, in the night these days. And also importantly, jobs and migration. These two are also issues in which, if you remember that the airport which has been inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi 2 months back, that is also helping a lot. I spoke to a gentleman. He is working in IT sector in Bangalore. He said, I took 3 times flight from Purnia to Karnataka, so that is also a big boost. And also importantly, Makhana board, which has been established by central government, that is something which is giving high hopes to the people there, because the infrastructure and the facilities around that will increase. Remember that Purnia and Katiyar
are a huge impetus to the farmer there in Bihar. Corn itself being used for the production of ethanol, Makhana board, and the cost of Makhana itself has risen more than 300 times, many people are saying, or at least 30 times if I were to discount that claim. But it's to huge profits, because that entire belt is the only one where these foxnuts grow in such large numbers, and this Makhana board is a big fillip, plus infrastructure. But all that matters. Rahul Shivshankar, as you take this forward, would you look at the percentage or would you want to look at the absolute numbers? Because the base of voters also comes down by 42 lakh this time.
Yeah, of course, many people will say that this is a statistical illusion, but I think this goes beyond that. I think it also suggests that there has been, on both sides, an ability to reach out to their core base and bring them out to vote, which will hold obviously some significance in the end result as it is tabulated. Of course, the result before the result will be out in about 15-20 minutes, and one is very excited to see what's happening. The Satta Bazaar, as we know, the last few days has been veering more and more towards the NDA, and one always says follow the money, but on this particular channel we won't be doing that. We'll be following hardcore political instincts, as well as, of course, the data which will be revealed by the Election Commission. But fundamentally, I think that this particular turnout means that both sides have been able to rouse their voters out of any sense of ennui. That was half the problem in the last election, if you remember, for the NDA. They couldn't sort of bring some of their voters out. That's what we were told. The RSS didn't really take part in the campaign in a manner that it should have. Here things have changed. So one doesn't know, are these only NDA voters coming out to prove a point? Remember, this particular phase has a predominance of Muslim Yadav voters in a large number of seats. And we've done the maths earlier. We'd in fact discussed this over the last 2 or 3 days. So fundamentally, I think that this is a very, very important statistic. One can't ignore it. And I think it will have an impact in the end analysis.
Right. Nalin Mehta also joins us. So Nistula, starting with you, your thoughts. What's going to be your key takeaway for this election, or what is perhaps the one factor that would change it? The Satta Bazaar is actually saying the Congress will get less than 19 seats. There are 13 to 15 seats for the Congress. The JDU is supposed to have a far better strike rate than 2020. Yeah.
See, from the beginning, and I went to Bihar quite early on, even before the seat adjustment had been announced, and I'd spent some time there. I spoke to women voters and certain groups which were very crucial to different alliances, different parties. And the one thing that I found was that it was Nitish Kumar who was the fulcrum of this election. You see, his health, his ill health, whether or not this is going to be his last election, whether his supporters and the electorate in Bihar is in a mood to give him a good, rousing farewell or consign him, to history. That was the question that is to be decided by this election, because he initiated a conversation, political conversation in 2005. He became the balancing factor between socialism and Hindutva in Bihar, and that conversation has continued this is the last election of that conversation. I feel that beyond this, whatever that Nitish had been talking about, of getting over Jungle Raj, etc., that conversation ends now. You'll have to go beyond. The parties that will be competing in 2030 will have to go beyond that. So Nitish Kumar was both, as I said, the meta narrative and the subtext of this election.
Nitish Kumar, Nalin Babu, agree, disagree?
So, one of the things that has been very unusual for me in tracking this election has been that when we look at our readership metrics, in this election, unlike others, there's been very little readership interest. That to me is surprising because it kind of, when that happens, it tells you that a lot of people are expecting more of the same. There's very high interest in election where you expect a huge, satta parivartan and all of that. So that's one thing, but that may not mean much. My sense of this election is that if you look at the campaign and if you look at the issues that were raised, the issue is that Bihar has basically been in the same boat for the last 20-25 years. Right. And I think there's nothing new in this campaign. There's no X factor, no matter how much Prashant Kishore might say. The fact of the matter is for most of the voters is more of the same ho-hum. So, it's like there's no X factor which could change the game. And that, I think, is the big problem for Bihar voters in this election.
So how do you square that with the record voter turnout, as we were saying? I mean, just before we came, at 5 p.m. it's 67%, yes, go up to 70%. So clearly something is happening for the people to come out.
Looking at previous elections when votership data has gone up, physiologically, the evidence on that is very mixed. There is no evidence to show that high voter turnout necessarily means, which was the older conventional wisdom. It means that it's an anti-incumbency vote. There is no evidence to show that. It's actually 50-50. So it could well be that the election matters to people. The election matters to people because in Bihar, the state is what defines most of what people's jobs are, right? Or you migrate. Now, therefore, it might matter, but it is within an older fixed boundary, if you like, of the players.
Right. Umesh Jha, cephalogist, and Sandeep Shastri, National Coordinator, Lokniti Network, also with us. But first to the gents who are sitting in the middle. Rashid Kidwai, Rahul Verma. What do you think, Rashid?
Anand, first of all, I beg to disagree a bit. There is no direct correlation between the personal popularity of a leader and the outcome or, the election verdict. You look at Naveen Patnaik, you look at Amrinder Singh, you look at Atal Bihari Vajpayee of 2004. Very high popular rating, singular, one leader kind of thing. But the outcome was very different. Some would say about
Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi is personally very popular,
absolutely.
And therefore there is a Modi effect. I mean, when he's on the ticket, there's a 10% bump up.
Absolutely. So therefore, I think I give a lot of importance to the vote percentage, but it's very welcoming for democracy. It may mean the kind of region and the demographic profile that Rahul Shivshankar was talking about. I think this rise 70% plus would signify I would lean towards Bihar heading for a big change.
Big change, or perhaps or reiteration that we are happy with where we are. Why fix what is not
Rahul
broken?
had an interesting theory. Yes. I think the last time he came on air as to why the voting percentage is increasing.
So let me make 3 points. One, I think this is a historical turnout, right? So
is it?
Yeah, because look at the data. If it go 65 itself is highest ever, and what you are also going to see is greater. So the second phase always in Bihar for last 5 elections had higher turnout,
right?
And so you will always also have greater turnout gap between men and women. So women are likely to turn out more. So that's a fact about Bihar. Now I think where I agree with Nistula, in some ways, see what is unique about this election, that this election is going to mark a historical closure to 35 years of politics of Lalu and Nitish, right? And in that sense, what might be happening is basically what Rahul Shivshankar said, is mobilization from both angles. So it's largely, again, a not illusion, statistical effect, but also I think a mobilization effect where...
But in this case, what happens is this time around, Nitish Babu has been at the forefront along with PM Modi as far as the NDA campaign is concerned. But Laluji has become a small side effect. Amidst when Tejashwi has been projected.
Also, Anand, don't forget, Laluji was in jail, incarcerated. So it was Tejashwi's campaign even last time. I just feel that here, there has been obviously some amount of traction in the messaging. There are people, and PK and the number of people that he attracted tells you that there is space for an alternative narrative. Now, whether these people trust Tejashwi Yadav, Rahul Gandhi, that combination to be the change, I don't know about that. And whether there has been a counter mobilization, 2 things I've told you. People have stopped reading your editorials. They have they have come out there
That's
and
just
they are
nasty.
voting. Number two. All the trains.
He didn't need
all
you
the
to say
trains.
that on TV,
I'm just
man.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Rahul,
All the
Rahul,
trains.
I didn't
All the
mean my
trains.
editorial, your editorial. I mean
He's
political
always
reading as a
delegating
whole.
newspapers
Right,
with
right.
a newspaper
Okay,
in front
People
of
have
him.
stopped reading.
All
Let's just
the-
put it
all
that
the-
way.
all
No, one thing.
People
Rahul,
continue
all
to
the
vote,
trains,
but
all
we've
the
got...
trains that were supposed to have been sort of not plied have obviously got the people.
No, not
to
just
vote.
got the people. They've stayed back, and Bihar voter makes the
I
effort to
want to
go
make
back.
an
Just
important
one sec. We've got Rajiv Pratap Rudy also joining us along with Sandeep Shastri and Umesh Jha. Let's go across to them. Rajiv Rudy जी, आप तो बड़ी ऊंची उड़ान भर रहे हैं, पर आप ये बताइए कि सिवान और बिहार में कब आ?
सब ठीक बा.
सब ठीक बा.
Sab ठीक बा. I was listening to all of you, and of course, you are talking about the voters' turnout, and of course, the first phase and the second phase. But I would like to remind you, this second phase of polling, wherever it is taking place, predominantly has been a bastion for the NDA. Now, if you want to say that this extra polling or extra polling is basically because there could be a change, I think it is reiteration or maybe validation of the existing government, the combination. This is my presumption, and I believe in it very strongly. When you're talking about Prashant Kishore creating upheavals, I would just like to clarify one thing, which most of you may have missed, or maybe a point which I have been adding throughout my discussions across, that you see for last 1 year, the space of the opposition, which should have been Rashtriya Janata Dal and Congress in Bihar, was taken away by Prashant Kishore. So every forum in Delhi, outside Delhi, in Delhi, Bombay, everyone was talking about Prashant Kishore. But by the time election came, the space was, the contest was between the choice between Lalu Prasad Yadav or Nitish Kumar, or for that matter, Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi. The political space which should have been there with Prashant Kishore was diminished because he did not contest elections. He does not have a caste vote bank. He was talking of replacing the entire government, and throughout his campaign, he was talking against BJP and the NDA. He never talked about RJD. RJD and the Congress always thought that he's already doing much harm. The benefit will come with us. Ultimately, what happened? Prashant Kishore vanishes away. He doesn't exist in the contest today, apart from default where he is there. And the Congress and the RJD, which should have had the space of the opposition, is gone. There is a positive contribution in the state of the state government, and there is a matter of perception. The perception yet is when you talk about Lalu Yadav or Tejashwi Yadav, people still do not talk Tejashwi as a leader in Bihar. Please remember, we also talk about Lalu Yadav as the face of politics in Bihar as far as Rashtriya Janata Dal is concerned. So all this, if you can analyze, will ultimately conclude to a point that there is a complete positive voting or a positive voting for the NDA, which I can perceive. So this could, if you would like to ask questions on this, this is my perception.
No, but
this
Mr.
is my
Rudy,
theory.
you said
And,
that no one perceives
vote chori and all could
Tejashwi
not-
as a leader.
Yes, please.
Look, the outcome obviously suggests that the NDA won the last time. But it's not as if Tejashwi or the RJD did not get any seats. I think Tejashwi did a fabulous job
Can I explain something?
running with a Congress party that
Yes,
didn't
can I
really add
explain
any
it?
muscle to his campaign.
Yes, can I explain this numerically? So Bihar is the only state in the country where Yadavs are 22% and Muslims are roughly about 18%. So this comes to roughly about a big
40%,
portion of Bihar voters is between say around 32, 33%. 18 and 12 would be how much? 18 and 12. It's about 32%. But fortunately,
30,
18
30,
and
30.
30.
22 and 18 is 40, 18 and 12 is 30. Yeah, ji. Ji.
18 and 12. I'm sorry, I've got the figures.
Ji,
18 and
30%.
12.
Ji.
Now, please remember, there are 70 seats in Bihar where the concentration of Yadavs and Muslims are there, which will even if Tejasvi would not have moved out of his house, he would have got these 65 to 70 seats every time. The question is whether he is able to muster another 7 to 8% is a big question. Now, the entire Congress doesn't add up much because the forward votes, which symbolizes the Congress party in Bihar, is not with the RJD or the RJD or the Congress yet. It is still with the BJP per se and the other forces. So if you all have to analyze it this way, you can have different logic to say that your entire argument for last 2-3 days, or all the journalists are saying, large turnout against the government, upheaval.
No,
I think it's completely wrong.
No, देखिए sir,
Or maybe I
2005,
thought so.
2005 when
so.
Nitish Babu came, Zaka was putting out the numbers, 40% voting, very little voting when Nitish Babu came when Sarkar palta. So the voter did not come out to vote for RJD. Those who wanted to vote for Nitish Babu, they came, and that's how the numbers happened. It's one of the lowest numbers in 2005. So Bihar itself shows that. But let's go. Rajiv ji, please stay on with us. We are doing the mega exit poll here at News 18. So quickly taking you through the methodology before we go to Umesh Jha and Sandeep Shastri ji. Poll methodology, 122 Vidhan Sabha constituencies have been covered out of the 243, 255 interviews in each constituency. 15 polling booths have been picked via random sampling, structured questionnaire in Hindi via app, and field work on the day and day after polling for phase, on the day after polling for phase 1, and for phase 2, respondents have been asked on polling day. Every interview has been geotagged for authenticity. So that's how this exit poll is going to be done, being done. We will have the numbers trickling in about 15 minutes, basis phase 1, and then phase 2, the consolidated numbers by about 7:30. Umesh ji, please tell us what's been the response on ground and what should we expect? Is this closer? Is it going to be closer or leaning? The trend is towards the Satta Bazaar predictions, or is there something different?
Well, I've seen the numbers for phase 1 so far, and from phase 1 numbers, we can conclude that NDA will do relatively better than what they did in 2020 election in the constituencies which went to polls in phase 1. And the important part here is that this improvement will be largely because of better performance by JDU. So BJP will more or less consolidate on where it was. It's JDU which will improve its tally from 2020.
So JDU strike rate will be better, and that many people are predicting. Did you get a sense of why? Is it because of Nitish Babu? Is it because of the fact that the Modi-Nitish combo was actively projected right through?
It's the LJP factor. In 2020, there were about 33 seats where JDU could have won if LJP was contesting as part of NDA.
Right.
But that didn't happen. So out of those 33 seats, I see that there are about 21 seats which are in phase 1 this time. And out of the 21 seats, JDU seems to be winning 15-16 seats out of that. So that's adding to the tally of NDA.
Right.
And that consolidation of NDA votes is perhaps what is making the most important difference here.
Very interesting. Will be interesting to see, will LJP return the kind of strike rate that it's expected, because it's pulled about 29 seats to itself. Now many believe bahut zyada de diya to Chirag Paswan. Will he actually live up to that expectation? Nalin Mehta has a point, and then Sandeep ji, please weigh in. Yes, Nalin Mehta.
JDU factor, I want to add to what Nisala was saying. In the Lok Sabha of 2024 results, the JDU seat share was up to 72 from 43 last time, if you extrapolate the Lok Sabha to the Vidhan Sabha, which meant the strike rate went up significantly. A lot of that was because of the surprise that happened with LJP last time, LJP cutting a lot of votes and so on. This time, they're all fighting together, while there have been issues within the alliance. At the moment, if the JDU is going to be in the forefront, and I think it is at the moment, and let's wait for the election results or the exit poll results, then you might be seeing a replication of the 2024 kind of matrix, where the JDU strike rate increases significantly, the BJP remains more or less similar to where it was, and RJD and Congress go further down compared to 2020. That's what happened in 2024. The question is, what has changed in Patna between 2024 to now? We have not seen any significant evidence of a massive shift on the ground from that matrix.
Right. Rajiv Rudy has limited time with us. So Rajiv ji, just quickly asking, MY factor, Mahila youth, Mahila Yuva or Muslim Yadav? क्या बढ़ चढ़ के बोलेगा सर?
No, Muslim Yadav to always speaks in a loud tone, and that is what scares everyone away. And I have an experience, if you can count my experience, though I can speak slight bit of English too. 7 terms in parliament, 1 term as an MLA. I can see it on the ground, and I have been moving around in the state, in my assembly constituency, in my parliament, and across North Bihar. North Bihar always fares better than the South Bihar, but this election, South Bihar is faring well. And now it's a quiet voting. People are not speaking, there is no wave, and there is no anti-wave against the government. And there is some credibility which is there with the government. When we talked about LJP would not add seats, but the overall political combination which has emerged or the combination has sent a message for all of them to vote together. So that factor, and I would still agree, because on ground when I was visiting BJP seats and when I was visiting JDU seats, I would feel that JDU is gaining. BJP would certainly retain its position. Government in Bihar will certainly be this time again for NDA, because you all must remember, this is a phase when Bihar will see an end of Lalu Yadav, and possibly also with age coming in on leadership on my side or the NDA side also. But it is, till date, it is a battle drawn between Nitish Kumar and Lalu Yadav and Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi. So obvious, the results are obvious, and this could be my
आपका इलाका में
version
सब
of my
सेफ है
explanation.
सर सारण में?
नहीं, हमारा इलाका तो सबसे खतरनाक है बिहार के राजनीति में. मैं खुद ही लालू जी से पिछले 40 साल से लड़ता रहा हूं. I've been contesting him 40 years. And there is not a single member in his family with whom I have not fought or won or lost. So even his daughter last time. So no one can have a better experience about Lalu Raj in Bihar than Chapla and Rajiv Pratap Rudy, the 35 years of contest against him. So possibly you can, next time you can put me on the panel, and I would be very dispassionate in my opinion and come back, and I promised me to give a check, and I can give you better feedback on the subject.
जी, okay, sir.
So great, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Always a
And all
pleasure
the
speaking
best.
with you. Thank you, sir. Sandeep Shastri ji,
Bye,
thank you
bye,
for your
sir. Bye
patience.
to
You've been
everybody.
listening to everybody's opinion. Thank you, Rajiv ji. Sandeep ji, how do you see Bihar? What's happening? We're going to have the numbers very, very soon. Ji.
Thank you, Zaka. It was wonderful listening to colleagues on the panel. This is the challenge of being online in such a program. I think I would make 2-3 points. One, the higher voter turnout both in phase 1 and phase 2. I don't think either side should say it is beneficial to them, because there is no past empirical evidence to show that higher voter turnout helps the defender or helps the challenger. What seems to be crucial in Bihar this time is 2 factors. The MY you referred to, but not the MY which was looked at by Rajiv ji. I think the MY crucial this time is the Mahila and the youth. A higher woman voter turnout as last time, I think will be advantage NDA. And a higher youth turnout is something that can be, both parties are not sure which direction it will move. With 1 out of every 4 voters being youth, the highest anywhere in the country, in the age group of 18 to 29. These are voters who have a strong sense of expectation. These are voters who are aspirational. These are voters who are looking for jobs in Bihar. These are voters who are looking for good skill and employment opportunities in Bihar. And they would look at both the NDA and the Gathbandhan and decide where is the trust quotient higher.
But these are also voters who have not seen Lalu Raj. They have only seen Nitish Raj.
Yeah.
Yes, these are voters who have been socialized in the last 20. These have been voters who have been socialized in the last 20 years, much of which has seen Nitish Kumar ji as the chief minister.
Well, Sandeep ji, this is Anand here who's been asking you the question. Zaka is coming in now.
No. So I want to make a point about this higher voter turnout. I think increasingly there is evidence to show that a higher voter turnout happens when there is greater mobilization by both sides. So in this case, for example, in phase 2, if it ends up with 70%, which means 7 out of 10 voters have come out and exercised their franchise, which means both sides had equal motivation to come out and vote. In this case, I think, somebody had mentioned this on the panel the other day as well, is that the JDU voter, the NDA voter knows that this is probably Nitish Kumar's last election, right? So we don't want to retire him in a way that is not befitting for what he's done over the last 20 years. So generally, the incumbent voter is less motivated than the anti-incumbent voter, because the anti-incumbent voter is angry, wants to change, is not happy with the existing situation. So there is greater motivation for the anti-incumbent voter to come out. Whereas in this case, because there's mobilization from both sides, because on the incumbent side, it has been made out that we have to give a fitting farewell to the incumbent. That's why you're seeing a higher voter turnout. That's why you're seeing closer to 70%.
And the other thing is this whole vote
like
chori
Prakash
thing.
Singh Badal.
The last election.
2012,
Yeah.
when he said that, I'm sorry, that, I've had bereavements in my family and this is my last election. And everybody, and there was so much anti-incumbency against the Akalis and they still won.
They still won. But here, Nitish has not said this is my last election. It's not been said explicitly anywhere. The other thing is this vote chori will work only if my vote or my vote is absent. The number of people who are saying that my name is not there in the voter list is not as big as the amount that it was made. And there is a variance between Tejashwi and Rahul Gandhi in terms of what should be the issue on which the opposition should come together as a plank. Tejashwi was trying to focus on jobs, on BARD, etc. And he was saying, no, let's push vote chori. And that there itself, the opposition seemed disjointed. But is that going to be a factor? We'll wait and say, yes, Rahul.
So I want to make 2 points. One, I think on the JDU performance, because the suggestion from every corner is that JDU is likely to perform better compared to past. One reason could be basically it was hurt in 2020 because of LJP. But I think what is also happening that JDU might be actually benefiting from a pro-incumbency wave, which is rare in elections after 4 terms. And this is like not just a sympathy factor. I think what seems to be happening, Nistula said, and I have read different reports in various newspapers, I think Nitish Kumar is emerging as a pan-Bihar sort of like a figure who can be in the middle in a very, very polarized politics and keep that middle voter,
But
you will
wasn't
say,
that always the case, Rahul? That was always the case for the last 20 years.
But see, the difference between 2020 and 2025 is that 2020 was like a election which was basically, you didn't have any mobilization, right? There was much more fatigue. The question is what actually changed between 2020 or 2024 and 2025 that Nitish is basically seen as this kind of
I want to add one more point to what Nalin said. There is a big difference between the 24 election and the 25 election. That is Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi is not on the ticket this time around, whereas he was in 2024 and I think that's a big difference. I mean, people vote differently in parliamentary and in assembly elections.
Specifically, Bihar has
the difference is that something has shifted, which is that you're right, the BJP does not have a ground leader in Bihar, and that's a big issue for the BJP.
Yeah.
So Mr. Modi is the sort of the big vote catcher in the center. With RJD, and I think there's a substantial difference between UP and Bihar, which is that unlike Akhilesh in UP, who managed to broad base and build a much larger social coalition by giving tickets to many more people outside the Yadav Muslim alliance. Tejashwi has not done that. If you look at the ticket selection, he's fought this election. The last election, 2020, he fought very much like the insurgent candidate who was going to be the real challenger. This election he's fought much more like a local regional satrap, where he's not really expanded his ticket selection to areas outside of the Yadavs and Muslims. So it's appealing much more to the converted and not necessarily to the middle ground. And Rahul Gandhi
but before we get the first data, it's just about 2-3 minutes, 3-4 minutes that before we put the first one. Let's get Zaka on the wall and try and understand which are the big factors. Mahila Yuva, if you can say phase 1, phase 2, where do the women actually vote and which seats?
Yeah,
can we just quickly look at as we get the first predictions out?
Yeah, so, everybody's been talking about the Mahila vote. So we looked at the 2020 data, and in the 2020 data, the women outvoted men by 5% statewide. But we were looking at those seats where the women outvoted men by 10%, which means for every 10 male voters, there was 1 extra woman voter. There were 11 women voters for every 10 male voters. And a lot of those seats, 71 out of those 243 seats, 71 of those seats were in northern Bihar. They were either in Simanchal or they were in Mithilanchal, or there were a couple of seats up in the Champarans, in the 2 Champarans. But the point is, all of these seats, a large number of these 71 went to polls today. I think 4 out of 7 out of these seats went to polls today, and that's why one reason also, we haven't got the gender-wise breakup of the turnout. One reason could also be that the number of women have outvoted the men again in substantial terms, just like what we saw in 2020. The other factor, of course, you've talked about migrants and how they play an important role. Just very quickly, again, we looked at those districts. We took the top 10 districts where there is maximum outflow of migrants, people who leave Bihar in search of work. So you have a whole bunch of these constituencies in the middle part of the state, which is sort of, in the northern part of the Ganga, north of the Ganga. So you have a whole bunch of seats here. And you have a couple of districts down in the south, Sasaram, Aurangabad, Jahanabad, etc. So it, again, amounts to almost 100 seats, 97 out of 243. Here too, the NDA had, in a close election from the last time, the NDA had almost a 2 to 3 kind of a ratio, where the MGB had just 40 seats, the NDA had almost 60 seats. So it was like a 4-6 kind of a ratio. But I think these two factors, remember the 2020 election was also about migrant labor. It was about these folks walking back home, 2,000 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers in the middle of COVID. So that was a big factor in this election. This time around, is it as much of a potent factor? I don't know. And also there was a novelty around Tejashwi Yadav last time when he said, I'm the youth leader, I'm going to give you jobs, I'm this, I'm that. It appealed to a large cross-section, especially amongst young voters. Whereas this time around, does it not? There's also PK. All right, we've got the first.
Right, we've got the first set of numbers. So Zakas timed it perfectly, viewers. So let's quickly get a sense of the first set of numbers, and these are projections after phase 1. So phase 1 projections, these are the mega exit poll numbers. Phase 1 projections, 60 to 70 seats in phase 1. The NDA out of the 121 that went to the ballot, so they are running away. Phase 1 was the NDA's weakest in 2020. They actually made gains in phase 2 and 3. This time around, Bihar goes to polls in just 2 phases. The INDIA alliance is 45 to 55. They had better numbers the last time around. Jan Suraj not opening its account, others not opening its account. So it's a two-way race so far as the first 121 seats is concerned. But if it is 60 to 70 seats for the NDA, are they already home? Are they already home before the stronger of the two phases manifests for the NDA? And if it's nearly 70% voter turnout, then is this a runaway? Is this a better performance? And we'll also try and see if this is because of the fact that within the NDA, the JDU turns a far better strike rate than the last time around. Is that the factor that's contributing to both the BJP, JDU, and of course the alliance partners in the NDA, the LJP, the HAM, all doing well? Did they come into play in phase 1? We'll have to wait and watch. These are the first set of numbers that we are putting out. 60 to 70 seats for the NDA, 45 to 55 for the INDIA. We have a party-wise breakup. We'll try and play that out also. What is the party-wise breakup as to which party is doing well within the first phases? We'll try and put that out also. So out of the 121 seats out of 243 in the first phase, the numbers at the News 18 mega exit poll say that the NDA will get 60 to 70 seats, the INDIA 45 to 55. So the 2 to 3 ratio somewhere is being maintained. And if it's a runaway and the higher end for the NDA and the lower end for the INDIA, that means the target of 160 that's been set could be breached by the time the 243 seats results come through. Now, if that happens, it will be a historic win and a historic election for the NDA at a time when the BJP centrally is seen at its weakest in the last 12 years, in the last 3 terms. And at a time when many thought that Nitish Babu does not have the magic. Does he once again prove all his detractors and the political pundits wrong and come back stronger than ever before at a time when the opposition said, ye thak gaye hain, ye so gaye hain, ye bimar hain. All these things were talked about Nitish Kumar, but is he sharp, is he alert, and does Bihar still echo or resonate with Nitish? Now, quickly, your thoughts, Rashid Kidwai, is this possible in phase 1 last time around?
We have a breakup of the individual seats.
Yeah, we're just waiting for those numbers to come. We'll try and get those numbers here on the big screen.
Do you want to go through?
Yeah. You got the numbers, so let's take the conversation
So the numbers
forward.
of the individual parties, and this is the point that Rahul was also making. So the BJP in this phase is contesting 48 seats. The number for the BJP is 20 to 30. The JDU is contesting 57 seats. It's contesting more than the BJP, about 9 more than the BJP. The JDU's number is 35 to 45 out of 57. So the JDU strike rate is higher than that of the BJP. Smaller parties, again, Chirag Paswan, anywhere between 0 to 5 out of the 13 seats he's contesting. On the other side, opposition side, the RJD is fighting in 72 seats, of which it's projected to get 25 to 35 seats. The INC is fighting 24 seats. The Congress party is projected to get only 5 to 10 seats. All the left parties put together, CPI, CPM, CPI-ML, are fighting 14 seats together. They're expected to get anywhere... No, sorry, they're fighting 14 plus, I think about 25 seats between all of them. They are expected to get 10 seats. So you're right about the point that you made, that the JDU strike rate could well end up becoming higher than that of the BJP. Of course, like I said, the JDU is contesting more seats in this.
It's there at the bottom, that 35 to 45 seats for the JDU at the bottom of the screen.
The fact is, and please bear me out on this, that it appears that the LJP is actually having a knock-on effect on the alliance, and so is the HAM and the RLM specific, not the HAM, but the LJP and the other. Vote conversion for JDU seems to have helped the JDU quite a bit.
Maybe, but that's like, I don't have an answer to this question. See, I think if this number holds, then what we are seeing is that LJP and HAM are not performing as well as they were expected to perform. They did really well in Lok Sabha, where LJP actually won, I think, 7 out of 7 Lok Sabha seats or 5 out of 5 Lok Sabha seats. But at Vidhan Sabha level, they are not being able to pull up. This could be one, that perhaps the Dalit voters stay with them, but they are not able to attract the upper caste or EBC, one of those two voters with them. And if you remember, like the JDU, like Nitish Kumar and Chirag Paswan, friendship is not there, right? So we don't know what might be happening.
So I did a round of calls after the first phase of polling, because everybody does a reporting meeting right after that, all parties. So I also did my rounds with people. And the first thing that was said, even from the BJP leadership, was that yes, JDU's strike rate is going to be as good as the BJP strike rate. The JDU said that the all NDA meetings that were done in the run-up to the polls has helped them, because they were really counting on this time around the LJP being on board, and that those 32 seats where they were hurt, they're planning to recover. Even if they recover 15 of them, they said we're pretty much home. But one important thing that your findings don't reflect is a lot of worry in the NDA camp about Prashant Kishore. There were at least 2 seats in Patna city that the NDA was worried about. Ki ye phas gayi hai.
But it's showing 0 though. Zero seats.
Yeah, but their reporting, their assessment was that Prashant Kishore has managed to get, even in Patna, he has managed to get
seats,
some.
but they might get enough votes to
A
damage
certain
the
amount
chances.
of vote share. But in terms of the, we're seeing the party break up at the bottom of the screen, viewers, and you can have a look at that. See, out of the 60 to 70 NDA seats, 20 to 30 to the BJP, 35 to 45 to the JDU, the LJP is 0 to 5. Now, the LJP factor, Chirag Paswan, overweightage of 29 seats, did he actually merit that? That's a question many people are asking. The last time he was the attack dog who was sent after Nitish Kumar in phase 1, and before they tried to soothe things down and calm things down, phase 2 and 3. That's when they said no, Nitish Babu and Chirag
The thing is,
backed off. But
Anand, one factor that the BJP will probably be looking over its shoulder, I don't know, this is just phase 1. The JDU does well, obviously the dependency on the JDU increases. Let's not forget that even at the center.
I think they are very clear this time that they don't mind the dependency.
I'm just saying that it's
was
an interesting...
always about revolving around Nitish Kumar and JDU. If JDU, does well, then obviously there is no way that, the alliance would not win, the ruling alliance would not win. But I find, I'm not contesting the numbers of this survey. After all, we must remember this is an exit poll, and this is a kind of, estimated projection. There is something is different. I mean, we are saying in Mahagatbandhan, how is that left is doing so well? In the sense that the strike rate is about 50%.
No, but the left did well last time
is
around
50%.
The left did well last time. In fact, the left had as much seats as I think the Congress.
So
they had 15 in all, and the Congress had 19.
Zakato, last time it was a very close election. This time it is become, what if we go by this, it's a one-sided election.
Well, yeah.
In that sense.
If the same trend holds, you're looking at 130 to 140.
But within the Mahagatbandhan, the left seems to be far more potent in its strike rate, and there's a reason why it was fighting and demanding more seats compared to the others, because of what it thought it was getting a sense on ground, that the left parties were gaining ground, and the hardcore left and communists were coming back and saying, grouping together rather than drifting towards the Congress or the RJD. They were ready in these pockets where the left is doing its work on ground.
No, the other thing that's a constant from last time, in fact, it's worse for the Congress party, is that their strike rate is going to be even worse than compared to 2020.
They have, in terms of ticket distribution, they have undergone a very big change from being, upper caste party primarily
jettisoned the upper class.
It doesn't seem to be working. They're still at 5 to 10 out of the...
Look, I think it's better to wait till 14.
I'm just asking, for all the mahal that they tried to build, what is the purchase on ground if this is the impact in phase 1? Rahul?
No, obviously there is a crisis there for the Congress. It's messaging completely off the mark. Look, I mean, one has to preface all one's remarks by suggesting that let's wait till the 14th, but fundamentally
Sitaram Kesi used to say, "Parinam chauka dene wale honge."
The only difference in Rahul Shivshankar's case is they take clips of him and put it on Twitter. Poor Mr. Kesri didn't have to deal with that.
परिणाम चौंका देने वाले होंगे, हम चौंकेंगे या वो चौंकेंगे देखेंगे.
No, but the fact of the matter is that, look, fundamentally the Congress is not clearly adding to the numbers of the, I mean, if you just look at the numbers, the RJD's conversion rate is not that bad. It's not hopeless. It's veering towards the 50% mark.
Rahul, there is one thing that the Congress has managed to do in this election, which is that completely keep out the AIMIM of the fray.
Yeah.
Uncontrovertibly, the entire Muslim vote, minority vote, has gone towards the Mahagatbandhan, largely because of Rahul Gandhi and the Congress. And the stances that he has taken, not just in this election, but progressively in the past.
But Nisla, the problem is this: in 5 years, if they have gone to an even lesser strike rate than what they won last time, 19 out of 70, this time it could be 10 out of 61.
Well, that's a problem of not building your political program.
How does that justify, whatever position he's taking?
Time.
No, we try to see if we can get Umesh Jha back on the thing because he's putting out the numbers. But these numbers, the projections at the News 18 mega exit polls show that the left strike rate is better even than the RJD in phase 1.
Yeah.
That's a trend, even though they're contesting lesser number of seats. But 10 to 15 seats out of the 30 contested, it's quite intense. Yeah.
But compared to 2020, if this number holds, the strike rate for every constituent within MGB is lower. Even last time, RJD has a 50% strike rate, left had more than 50% strike rate, and Congress had like around 20-25% strike rate. This time, everyone's strike rate is low in MGB.
नो सर, ये देखिए 22 सीटें लेफ्ट का ग्रुपिंग CPI ML, CPI, CPIM.
हाँ तो 22 में 10 जीत रहे ना तो 50%
22 में 10 से 15 का प्रोजेक्शन, अगर 15 जीत गया तो मान लीजिए 12 पकड़ लीजिए.
हाँ तो 50% हुआ ना, but last time it was 70%.
हाँ,
but their vote is also a much more concentrated vote in the southern part of the state, the old, Naxal belt as it was known.
Right. So there are some other projections also that have come in, viewers. So let's get a quick check on the poll of polls. News 18 is also doing the mega poll of polls. So what are the others reporting? Some of the other pollsters, what are they saying? Most of them are calling it in favor of the NDA. Some of them, it's a runaway win. Look at Matriz. Matriz has come out and said that there is a 20-seat margin plus minus based on the vote share, but 147 to 167. So it's a clear runaway win this election for the NDA. The INDIA 70 to 90 seats. JSP could break in into the metric with 0 to 2 seats, but the others are not getting too much. Now, if you look at the JVC poll, again 150 seats at the top for the NDA, 88 to 103 mark for the INDIA. But look at the overall average. There are those who believe that the INDIA could breach the 100 mark, but somewhere these numbers are very, very solid for the NDA. Is this now perhaps sealing the fact that the BJP, JDU plus HAM plus LJP is too difficult to beat for the MJP? Look at these numbers, the poll of poll numbers. Overall, if you were to see, the average or the median is about 140 seats for the NDA. Somewhere, if you were to see, the median comes around between the 140, 145 number for the NDA, and for the INDIA or the opposition, the MJB viewers, the number, if you were to look at it, somewhere around 80 seats. 80, 82 seats is what they are saying the MJB will get. Jan Swaraj Party may not open its account if you were to look at the overall aspect, and others, there are others who could draw anywhere between 4 to 5 seats, 3 to 4 seats if you were to look at these numbers. Now, Dainik Bhaskar, People's Insight, JVC poll, Matriz, and of course the News 18 phase 1 projections. We'll get you the phase 2 numbers in a bit. Nalin Mehta, your thoughts?
If these numbers hold up, and like Rahul was saying, we have to preface every comment with that, if they do hold up, it kind of is a huge vote of confidence for the Nitish model and for this alliance. And there's a couple of things to be said on that, because Bihar is one of the worst performing states in the country, on both on nominal GDP and on GSDP and on real GSDP. However, So if you look at FDI numbers, if you look at growth numbers, even Jharkhand grows faster than Bihar, right? So what explains this governance model or this political model after 4? One of the things that Bihar has done well, despite having very little investment, like last year it just got FDI of 215 million. There are no jobs in Bihar, but Bihar has very high social sector spending. Bihar spends about half of its revenue receipts on social spending, and that model has been at the heart of the Nitish Kumar model from the beginning. So starting with funding for women and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So while the state is unable to enable the conditions for capital investment, for private sector and jobs and all of that, which is why you have the migrant factor which is so big in Bihar. For those that remain, the state is providing a safety net which is better than before, and that has got something to do with the other. Otherwise, you would have a massive change. So it's an interesting model, I think. And now with the freebies that have been promised by both sides, the numbers just don't stack up. If the cost of about 60,000 crores, if the Mahagathbandhan's promises are to be fulfilled, and about 36,000 crores of the NDA's promises are to be fulfilled.
No, but so I asked this on the first day of polling as well, Rahul. I mean, isn't this at some level a failure of the political opposition there, that they're not able to make this the number one issue, that there's a lack of jobs, there's a lack of employment opportunities, that young people have to leave, and a lot of young people are talking about that. I mean, why do we have to get out of the state?
I mean, 1 in 4 voters are youth voters in the state, and I've already brought out through the statistics that were collected on the back of a Caste survey, if you remember, the economic survey that was conducted in Bihar, that a large number of them are earning less than 6,000 rupees. It's a hugely remittance economy. Everyone is sort of out of the state. There are no jobs to be had, hardly any industry. But the fact of the matter is, if you've got one leader who is a challenger talking about SIR and another one talking about bread and butter issues, and both of them are not being able to marry what they believe should be the common narrative, you've got a problem. Fundamentally, a day before polling, you have Rahul Gandhi talking about Haryana and vote chori in Haryana. Look at the message that is going out. Look at PK, for instance, and someone mentioned that they didn't even have a manifesto out. So fundamentally, you have a problem where I think the voter is saying that, look, better the devil we know. We're better off with one lot.
In elections,
let's stick with them. We don't quite know what we're going to face on the other side. I mean, that's my only.
But Rahul, we know in elections, we know in the applied side of politics, in elections, it is not manifesto, but it's money that matters. And for the first time in Bihar, money has come in a. Let me complete. Bihar, money has come in a big way, both informal way or in a formal way also. 10,000 rupees going to women. Of course, it is also perhaps would if these numbers hold true, would be a game changer. It's a different thing. I can always comment that it took 20 years for people to realize that the women deserve 10,000 rupees, or women deserve or the economy deserves that makhana and makai they were talking about. What was Nitish Kumar doing for 20 years?
But that's also a question to the opposition. Okay. No, I mean if nothing has happened, why are they not able to pin it on him?
I think Tejashwi, who's the face of the opposition in Bihar, made constantly from the day one kept making that berozgari, unemployment as a major issue. You can mock Rahul Gandhi and go on, but Rahul Gandhi was making a very different point.
That there was a period of time when Mr. Tejashwi Yadav, not so long ago, was in power.
No, it's like saying
why didn't he in 20 days create this massive...
I have an important question to ask. Irrespective of whether people bought it or not, if the result is true, Rashid, what does this mean for Rahul Gandhi? Now, after 2024, then this would be the third big reverse, right? You would have Haryana, you would have Maharashtra, and now Bihar. What does it mean for Rahul Gandhi and this whole campaign of vote chori and all of that, right? What does it mean really?
See, first of all, I think it is wrong and very casual to link, such issues to, outcome. We have first passed the post system, and that verdict is acceptable. But the verdict doesn't mean that it would end all those allegations on some of them are very serious nature.
Is saying that the Yuva must vote on this issue.
Absolutely. But if Yuvas have not voted, that doesn't mean the issue is settled.
No, see, sir, it is not that, sir.
Free and fair elections are very important.
May I very humbly present a sporting analogy?
Yeah.
Right. Sir, you don't take a tennis racket to a cricket match. Whatever is the pitch and whatever is the issue there, you have to use the instrument that works there. Correct.
But the umpire need not be Shakur Rana.
No, and you don't. No, it is not even. What's the point? No, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point?
He just took a cricket bat to a tennis match.
I remember Tribune had a headline that Tejashwi Yadav given LBW in Pakistan.
No, but how does it matter whether who the umpire is when you yourself have taken a tennis racket to a cricket match? So that's simple. That's the point.
There's a serious question here. Not just about Rahul, but also about Tejashwi. This would be the second election we would have lost, and this is Rahul's last thing, right? What does it mean for RJD? Because RJD is a family-held party. We've seen what's happened to Shiv Sena and so on post Bal Thackeray. Now Lalu is still around, but if this result is there, does it change things for RJD?
Okay, this is was saying something, and then Rahul Verma.
And Advani, they formed party BJP in 1980. They came to power in 1996 for 13 days. So these political parties, you see,
you need to have a plan.
I want to go back to the original question: is why did it take 20 years for all of this to happen? The point is that in 2000, after 2005, when Nitish came to power around 2008 or around about 10, there were a huge number of stories that were done on the massive growth rate that Bihar's economy has suddenly shown. It had beat Gujarat and everything. The point was that the baseline was so low that whatever it showed, it showed an 11% growth rate, whereas a developed state like Gujarat, it was at 3% or 4%, and it was doing, of course, far better. But these are things that were being compared.
And not absolute numbers, but percentiles.
This is your tennis and cricket ball here. Yeah. So it took some time. And the point is that if an opposition that was being, made out to be the percussor of a jungle raj, so to speak, if they build up a campaign on jobs, etc., there is a degree of trust that is required, right? That was not getting. When I spoke to women, and I said, look, Nitish Kumar is not extremely well. There's a lot of gossip and talk going around that, BJP will remove him, halfway through his this thing. So do you still believe that he will give? He said, they said he will give. Otherwise, Modi ji will give. But Lalten will not give, we know it.
We know it. So there are two, there is a hedging of the risk in terms of the trust factor.
So there was a level of debate that had to be crossed.
We'll go to that after Rahul Verma speaks. He's been putting his hand up and we've not given him a chance.
So just quickly 2 points. I think let's not reduce the election outcome to money. Because if money can help, but if that was the only thing, then Jagan Mohan shouldn't have lost, Naveen Patnaik should not have lost, and incumbents would not lose, right? So I think if BJP or NDA comes back to power, I think it would be a combination of factors. Second point, I think Tejashwi did try to, at the end, make unemployment, jobs, palayan an issue. But the problem is two things. One, he came at that very last moment without any plan, and it's just like throw a number, right? You should have shown that there is a serious commitment to the unemployment issue, and you should have done some sort of math to it. It become more problematic because of Prashant Kishore's continuous attack. That this person has not studied, even after being Chief Minister's son, he cannot have a plan, right? So what the challenge Tejashwi or even Nalin, what he was pointing out with family parties is that they have both an advantage, which is that they get a legacy, so they have a 30% vote to begin with, but they also carry the burden of that legacy.
Right.
See,
I'll be honest, this time around, didn't go to Bihar, but I met Biharis in New Zealand. I met Biharis here in Noida. I met Biharis in Bangalore. 2-3 things which was common across all, thousands of miles apart, and this one. One, बाढ़ का कुछ कीजिए. बाढ़ का solution कौन देगा? हमको जितना the displacement because of floods which is happening is an issue. Nobody has spoken about it, and find a solution for that was a core issue. Not many parties raised it. Second thing they said, कुछ लोग 20 साल से एक जगह से उनका घर का constituency है, पर घर से गंगा पार जो है, they could not build a puliya. This puliya has been built by Nitish and Modi. Then Patna में airport, Purnia में airport, हमने जिंदगी में we did not even dream that this is going to happen. So if they can do this, and the last one, 10,000 रुपया दिया है, so this came from the ground also, that अगर पैसा दिया है तो उसका हिसाब जो कहते हैं ना नून का हिसाब, जो नमक का हिसाब, That will have to be. That came from Arunima was also talking about that even on ground there were people who said the same thing. But this came from a collective Bihari sentiment. That was the other.
Sandeep
yeah,
Shastri
yeah.
was.
Sandeep Shastri ji, yes sir.
Finally you came to me.
That is the reason why, this is Anand here, that's the reason why we request you and urge you to come and join us in the studio. Sometimes there are so many in the studio, we forget there is somebody outside. Please go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Your thoughts on these numbers so far?
I think if the numbers which you have just now discussed is what we will see on Friday, I think it's very clear that the Mahagathbandhan was not able to get its act together. The Congress was clearly the weak link in that alliance. There was no meeting of minds, no similarity of voice in the campaign. And on the other hand, NDA had a very, very well developed campaign. No chief minister candidate officially announced. The BJP led with the prime ministerial face. The JDU led with its leader. And I think it worked for both the parties. The JDU supporters saw their leader in their campaign. The BJP went ahead with its campaign with the Prime Minister's face. The LJP was not a negative link for the JDU this time. And I think this, if these numbers hold, works good for the NDA. And I think it's very clear that the trust quotient, be it of the youth, be it of the women, the trust quotient is significantly higher for the NDA. But of course, we must take that insurance policy, assuming that this turns out to be right on Friday.
As per the exit polls so far, BJP Bihar mein Kaaba, NDA ki sarkar ba. That's what it looks like. Yes, Nalin.
Three numbers here to put context to these results if they hold. The per capita income of Bihar is 33,966 rupees based on the last data we have.
Right.
Compare that with UP.
Right.
UP is 51,898
right.
and Jharkhand is almost double at 64,347.
Right.
So, in a state which is so poor even compared to UP or Jharkhand or Madhya Pradesh, the other Bimaru states, Bihar is a laggard in the Bimaru states. If you have a result like this, if these numbers hold, it can only be explained by the politics of Vishwas. While the economy may not have significantly changed, something has happened there where Nitish Kumar remains the one person that people trust, which is what Nitya was saying.
Right, and they got this time around. The BJP did not make any mistakes about putting, in fact, they course corrected. The first set of posters that were put at the BJP headquarters, election war room and that region in that 5-star hotel, did not have too many Nitish's pictures. Ab ki baar NDA Sarkar was written, but Nitish was not there. Then they changed those posters. Yes, Rahul.
One small point that I just wanted to add to what Nalin was saying, and perhaps, you might have a take on it. I just feel that fundamentally you might want to sort of look at once again the way the maths has taken shape in the alliances. And I think we don't have vote share data, which would have been very instrumental in looking
I
really...
think he'll release the vote share
Okay,
after
that
he
would
gives
be
both
wonderful.
the phases.
Because
this is Abhi right now projections based on phase one.
We're jumping to conclusions about conversions. We don't know how close these fights are on the ground level. So I think if we can get some of that vote share data, if it's 1% here and 1% there, then things are not as, rock solid.
Last time it was just 2%.
Yeah,
right?
It was less than 2%.
Less than 2%.
1%.
And I think in last time, my memory serves me
0.7
right,
or
the
0.7.
MJB won phase one in terms of vote
Yes,
share,
78
4% gap,
seats which were won
and
by
2 and
margins
3 is when
less
they
than
pulled up.
5%.
Less than
That
5%.
area, the
Few seats here and there.
NGB swept.
Yeah.
They would have changed the entire election.
There are a number of swing seats.
Yeah, and this time around there were no comments around caste, around reservation. There were no comments that came from the Sangh or anything that could be blown out of proportion. They were very, very careful. Viewers, we're going to just quickly take a look at all the numbers. The poll of polls is flashing on the screen. Can we go full screen? Because there are a lot of pollsters who have come on it. Big numbers that are coming in. Let's try and look at it. Here are the numbers. Let's try and look at these numbers as we walk closely and look at them. Matriz at the top at 147. Is there an outlier that we see? There is no outlier, but there are two pollsters who are giving the Mahagathbandhan more than 100 seats. Two pollsters who are giving more than 100 seats to the MJB. In fact, nearly 110 seats is Chanakya strategy, which is perhaps giving the lowest number for the NDA at 130. Most of the pollsters are giving more than 135 seats, nearly about 140 seats to the NDA overall in this. So 140 seats means a better performance than the than the last time around. 140 seats is a better performance than the last time around for the NDA. Jan Suraj hasn't been able to make too much of an impact except for PMARC, which is giving it nearly up to 4 seats at the top end, and People's Pulse, which is about 5 seats. The rest aren't. The others, there could be a huge amount of dent there, and there may be those. Dainik Bhaskar surprisingly giving the outer number or the higher number of 10 to the others there. That's quite surprising. There is People's Pulse, which is also saying 8. Who are these people who are to wait and watch? Matriz is also saying 2 to 8 seats to others. So that's interesting. What's the highest number? The highest number that's been given is 167 by Matriz, right at the top there for the NDA, and the highest number for the INDIA Alliance or the MGB is Chanakya Strat at 108 seats. That's the variance that we are getting, but somewhere 140 seats for the NDA overall.
All right. So just as you know, Anand is bringing up the numbers for the exit polls. So just a quick reminder: 7:30 we will have the second phase and the overall state numbers. As of now, we've declared for the first phase, which was 121 seats. It seems like the NDA has definitively the edge there. But I want to go across to just one second, Rashid. We'll come back in just a couple of minutes. If we have our colleague Shivani, who is joining us live from outside the Red Fort, where the blast happened yesterday, in which 8 people have died. Shivani, take it away. What's the latest? What are police sources telling you? What are the investigators telling you? How far have they gone in trying to solve the maze, or who was it behind the attack yesterday?
So, Zaka, through the day, we've been picking up what agencies and police sources have been telling us. One, that ammonium nitrate has been found abundantly at the site here where the blast took place. So that is, of course, pointing the connection to this entire Faridabad module that has been busted by the agencies just in the run-up to this blast. What remains to be seen, though, is whether the DNA samples of Dr. Umar Nabi, who's a suspected bomber in this case, in the car, in that I-20 car, whether his DNA samples via his family matches, because there is, of course, his remains are yet to be identified. What we do know is that his car was parked for roughly 3 hours, right where I am, close to the Suneri Masjid parking. And he didn't get out of the car. That is what the police is saying after scanning the CCTV footages. He didn't get out of the car for 3 hours. So why was he sitting in the parking and in the car? And then he took his car out around 6:49. And in a few minutes from then, there was a blast that took place at the red light right in front of Red Fort. So, of course, even as the FSL teams, etc., have collected evidence, they are going to go through the lab, formalities. But what we are being told is that there is very much a link that is coming to light between what transpired at the Red Fort and what could be this Faridabad Al-Falah University module. My colleagues Arunima, Anshul, Ananya and others have also been, collating a lot of this information on record. We only know what the Home Minister has said after doing the review meetings earlier today, which is that the instructions are that each and every one of the conspirators and perpetrators should be brought to book. For more on that, let me go across to my colleague Arunima, who's joining us. Arunima, which way is the investigation focusing on?
So the National Investigation Agency has just taken over the probe from Delhi Police, also from Faridabad Police, Jammu and Kashmir Police, as well as Uttar Pradesh Police. Even though individually Jammu and Kashmir Police, Faridabad and Uttar Pradesh Saharanpur Police will continue to do their own probe, this all now seems connected, and therefore NIA will look at their investigation as well. It's possible that more than one FIR is registered, not just for the Delhi car blast case, but also for radicalization, for putting up posters, that Naugam Srinagar case that Jammu and Kashmir Police is probing. Investigators essentially are focusing on 4 questions. First and foremost, who's the handler? It is suspected that there was a Telegram, radicalization module, more than one platform on Telegram that was being run. And all these people who have been arrested, as well as Dr. Umar, who's been killed, they were radicalized on that platform. So first and foremost, even though it is suspected that Jaish-e-Mohammed was behind this attack, who was it that was behind this? Who's the handler? That's question number 1. Second, from where was the explosive procured? That's a very important question. My colleagues Anvit and Ankur have picked up after speaking to their sources that RDX could have been used. Now, ammonium nitrate prima facie is what police told our team. But if any trace of RDX has been found, then it changes everything. RDX is a military grade explosive. It can't be bought off the shelf. Ammonium nitrate can still be procured because it is in urea. It is utilized for agriculture purpose. But RDX getting smuggled into this country is an act of war, so to say, from across the border. Question number 3, are there more people? At least one more doctor has been detained. So there is a possibility that this module is still getting unraveled. And number 4, if forensically it is established that Dr. Umar indeed was the Fidayeen bomber, then who gave him that instruction to carry out this Fidayeen blast and how?
Exactly. Absolutely. And on that, we've been getting you more of this entire Jaish-inspired module that seems to be behind this entire blast. Our investigations editor Manoj Gupta has been piecing together this Maulvi Irfan, who has been caught in the web of the agencies after those posters came to light in Naugam in Kashmir. And then this cleric was brought to the fore and investigations were conducting. Now this cleric is believed to be at the heart of the radicalization that has gone on of medical students, even in government medical institutions, both the ones that are in Kashmir and also of course the likes of Al Falah University in Faridabad. This cleric Irfan is believed to be the one who was inspiring these medical students who later turned on to become doctors to carry out these attacks. And there is a definite imprint of a Jaish style, old school Jaish style Fidayeen attack module that has come to light. It seems there was an attempt to show the ability to conduct such blasts right in the heart of the national capital. For more on this, let me go across to my colleague Anshul, who's also joining us. Anshul, a lot of the investigation direction is going towards this Maulvi Irfan, who seems to be the primary radicalizer and also in contact with handlers in Afghanistan apparently.
Definitely, but this still could just be the tip of the iceberg. There could be more such Maulvis who could have been carrying such operations across the country at this point in time as well, and there is no way to find out that exactly who are the people who are involved in this. And that is the reason why, even as we are speaking at this point in time, the investigation into the ammonium nitrate that was recovered from Faridabad, which was recovered approximately 7 to 8 days ago. The 350 kgs of ammonium nitrate that was recovered 7 to 8 days ago. And even after that, we are seeing that still those raids are underway. How many more people are involved? What is the exact involvement of this university? This is something that is being looked into. 6 more people have been taken into custody. The HR of this university is under the lens of the investigators because he's said to be that one person who has played a pivotal role in bringing people from Kashmir all the way over here to the outskirts of Faridabad, and then eventually trying to go ahead and somewhere or the other brainwash them and get them to do the jobs that they want them to do. So this is definitely a large nexus, a sort of a new nexus that has come to the fore. The manner in which the bomb blast has been, or the blast has been, has happened, that is a new modus operandi that has been seen. The manner in which the explosives were used, that is yet again a fresh sign of a new modus operandi that has been that has come out. So definitely there are a lot of first times that has happened in this entire incident, and that is the reason why the investigators are taking their time to come to a conclusion before saying anything on record. Remember, even till today, the only official version that has come in from the police was approximately an hour after the blast had happened, and the Delhi Police Commissioner had given a press brief. Post that, there has been absolutely no press briefing or no official statement or on-record statement that has either come in from the Delhi Police or any other agency for that matter. So definitely there are a lot of reports.
So NIA has taken over this investigation over now. While there has been no official clarification on exactly who is behind the blast and exactly who are the individuals linked, if there is a link to the Al Falah University cash recovery as well. But there are a lot of signs that are pointing out to what has transpired. And because the UAPA has been invoked, I want to go across to my colleague Ananya on that. Because the UAPA has been invoked, the Explosive Act has been invoked, it goes us to show that certainly terror has not been ruled out, and investigations are currently looking at this, at least at the investigation stage, as a possible terror attack.
Well, you know, it's in fact a terror attack because it's make it very, very clear that Section 16 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act which is pertaining to, in fact, which is defined as the terrorist act in fact, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of the UAPA has been invoked along with that Section 18 of the UAPA. Both these leading to, in fact, at least a life term and the maximum punishment going up to a death penalty. And this is, in fact, why, such stringent, laws have been imposed. In fact, UAPA is a law wherein which the accused can be held under police custody for over 30 days in one go. The investigators can ask for their, custody, and that is something that makes it very, very crucial. So definitely a terror attack is something that has not been ruled out at all as far as this investigation goes, and a watertight case is, would be prepared by the investigators as far as this particular, blast is concerned, because it is only after 2011 that Delhi has seen such a incident happening again, and this is something that the investigators would be worrisome about. They want to put out a very watertight case as far as things are concerned.
Absolutely. Suffice to say that there are alarm bells ringing as far as the security apparatus is concerned. Yes, a cache of nearly 3 tons of explosive material was captured and discovered, but something has gone amiss for this particular suspected bomber, Dr. Umar Nabi, to manage to roam around the national capital region with suspected explosives and to even be able to detonate it. Whether it was intentional or it went off before the planning, that remains to be seen as well, because the sequence of events suggests that there may have been some plan to take it to a different location. He had stopped at a red light here at the Red Fort, in front of the Red Fort, and it went off. Was it planned or was it unintentional timing? Remains to be seen. But we're keeping a very close watch on all of these developments, even as we are waiting for the Prime Minister's arrival back into India, and tomorrow certain important cabinet meetings are also lined up. Back to the studio.
Well, Shivani's at the spot. Let's try and piece out or put to you, piece together, viewers, the route, because investigators have been able to map the complete route of the Hyundai i20 that was used in the Delhi blast. At 7:15 a.m. it's been spotted somewhere in Faridabad. But after that, the driver, who now we know is a suicide bomber and also part of the Faridabad module, Umar Nabi, was caught on CCTV camera at the Badarpur border. 50 CCTV cameras across the capital have now tracked this. The suspect vehicle was first spotted on camera at the Faridabad at 7:20 a.m. in Faridabad, and then after the timeline around 8:15, it is entering Delhi via the Badarpur border. 20 minutes later, the car is captured on CCTV again. This time it is seen at the Okhla petrol pump. Then further, by 1 p.m, the car was captured, or the vehicle was captured near Kashmiri Gate. Later seen moving through Daryaganj and eventually reaching the Suneri Masjid around 3:19 p.m. The car was parked between 3:19 p.m. and 6:48 p.m. at that very spot at the Red Fort parking. Moments before the explosion, the car, because at 6:52 p.m. the car started, Umar was the only guy who walks in, gets into the car and then drives it out right to the signal in peak traffic. That's when the blast occurs near the Red Fort. Investigators now reconstructing the entire route using CCTV footage and also trying to figure out where the car was in that intermediate period between about 8:20, 8:25 a.m. where it was spotted at a petrol pump and till about 1 p.m. at Kashmiri Gate. Where was that car and why was it parked for 3.5 hours at the Red Fort parking lot, and who was behind the wheel? That now has been established as it was Dr. Umar Nabi, who was part of the Faridabad module. So now how this Faridabad module was busted, that's another story, viewers, and this becomes very, very interesting. The investigators, especially the Jammu and Kashmir police, stumbled on a poster that was put out somewhere around the 17th and 18th of October 2025 in Naugam, which was a Jaish poster. That poster and investigation into that led them to posters supporting JEM that was surfacing, and further in October itself in another region of Kaziganj and that area where Dr. Adil was seen putting out the similar posters. That led, and these investigations between 28th October and November 3rd, OGWs or terror workers were arrested in Naugam, who pointed and said, we did it at the instruction of a Maulvi Irfan, who is a Maulvi at the Naugam mosque. Maulvi Irfan then says that I am close to Adil, and he also names another person, Zamir Ahangar. Adil and Zamir Ahangar, when questioned, 3rd and 5th November, when cops knobbed Maulvi Irfan. Irfan used to be a paramedic at the Government Medical College in Srinagar, where Umar, Adil and Zamir, they were all students along with Muzammil. They were his students. So he's been in touch with them all through. He reveals leads of these doctors further, and then the Faridabad module where Adil is picked up from Saharanpur. Adil then reveals the whereabouts of Muzammil and Muzammil's accomplice or cohort or companion, that is Shaheen. And Umar Nabi is part of this group. November 5th to 7th, joint teams nab Adil Ahmed from Saharanpur. Adil had fled from GMC Anantnag, and AK-56 rifle recovered from his locker. Then 6th to 8th, Maulvi Irfan reveals the role of another aide, Zamir Ahangar, who leads the probe to Dr. Muzammil in Faridabad, and the Al-Falah University comes into the picture. Raids are conducted November 9th at Faridabad residence, leads to a massive seizure of ammonium nitrate, timers and detonators. There is another accomplice, Ishtiaq, who is living in the Fatehpur Taga region, very close in another village in Faridabad, not far from Al-Falah University, where nearly 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate is recovered. Also, the teams nab Muzammil's friend Shaheen from Lucknow, and an AK-47 is found in her car, and it's linked, and they know that these people are all connected to each other. The cops begin search for Muzammil's associate Umar Nabi, who's actually fled. He is suspected to be the driver of the blast car in Delhi, and 10th November in the evening, Umar Nabi goes ahead and conducts a Fidaiin attack. Now, this entire web, the core person in the center of it all is this Irfan, who is a Maulvi, who is a radical. He is also in touch with the Jaish-e-Mohammed and in Nangarhar. And after the 2021 incident, he has, and the takeover of the Taliban, the old contacts and the old routes were established. Investigators are still finding out how the Ansar Ghazwatul Hind comes into play, especially after the neutralization of Zakir Musa. Irfan was in Srinagar around the time of Zakir Musa. We'll pause it at there, but there are more leads that will emerge when we'll continue to track those as far as the Delhi 10-11 case is concerned. We've kept you ahead all this while, and you can trust us to keep you ahead with first, confirmed and genuine news, no kite flying viewers. Now, Zaka, let's switch focus and head back to the exit polls where the numbers are further trickling in, and will they be updated, changed based on the polling numbers of phase 2?
So we have declared so far phase 1 numbers, which is 121 seats. We will declare in 15 minutes at 7:30 the phase 2 seats that polled today. Our pollster Umesh Jha has just gone down. He's crunching the numbers even as we speak. Just a quick reminder of the poll of polls, the other pollsters who have also put out their numbers, and you can see from Matriz to JVC, People's Insight, People's Pulse. So on the lower end, we're looking at 130. I don't see anything that's lower than 130 for the NDA alliance. And at the higher end, we're looking at 165, 167. So essentially, you're looking at a range of between 130 to 167 for the NDA. For the India Alliance, at the lower end, I'm looking at 70, which is the first poll, the Matriz poll, and at the higher end, 108. That's a fairly big, almost 40-seat variance there. But essentially, directionally, all the exit pollsters seem to be predicting the direction of the poll result, which is that it'll be a reasonably comfortable win for the NDA. The Mahagathbandhan will be losing the second election on the trot in 2020 and now again in 2025. Rahul Shivshankar, Nistula Hebar, Rashid Kidwai, Rahul Verma and Nalin Mehta here in our studios.
Well, Zach, one will have to look at the poll percentages also, what the vote shares of all these various polls are. But the one that I've looked at, PMark, seemed to suggest there was a 3.5% to 4% difference between the NDA and the MGB. And if that is the case, that means there is significant consolidation in favor of the incumbent alliance, and that will be curtains really for the MGB, and they'll have to go into introspection.
Why do you think this is the case? I mean, this is turning out to be a far, I don't want to use the word easier, but seemingly an easier election.
A huger number of voters, if the vote share sort of increases for one by 4 or 5%, then there's a no contest really.
No, in this situation, this is a different election from 2020, which was under the shadow of COVID.
Correct.
So you could also see that people may not have wanted to come out to vote, several didn't. Then secondly, Chirag Paswan really dented the NDA, at least the JDU, in 32 seats, where their margin, the margin polled by LJP candidates, was more than the margin of defeat of the JDU candidate there. That is no longer a factor here, and you had Mukesh Sahni on this side finally deciding to go here. The NDA was all together, everybody who fought the 2024 Lok Sabha election, they were together in this. So it largely went to a bipolar sort of a situation. It was an either or thing, and I think people spoke to their support basis and they've come out to vote.
To add to the Chirag Paswan point, and Listila was saying, out of 135 seats where his party contested last time, 32 they got more votes than JDU, but in 26 of those 32, the LJP got more than the margin with which the JDU lost. So that was the magnitude of difference. Now he's on this side.
They cut the votes, and now that's gone. But the MJP had a chance. They were on the ground early. They were drumming up support. 3-4 months there was a huge amount. Did they time it too early? Did they peak too early, or were they pulling the carts in different directions, Rashid Kitwai? Because these numbers they will not be very happy with.
Absolutely. I think if an incumbent government, and that too a chief minister who has been there for past 20 years and wins with a greater margin, I think it's a very poor reflection on the the quality of opposition that's there. I think we need to look at how the NDA got smaller caste and smaller parties together, and that's also a very interesting story. I think though they call it Mahagatbandhan, but Mahagatbandhan lacked that kind of diversity that the NDA has. There was a lot of work and rework was there last minute. Mukesh Sahni, I was just looking at not to contest again Anand this figure, but in that India Alliance story, there is no mention of Mukesh Sahni and VIP.
Yeah.
How is he doing? I mean, we're talking about left, we're talking about Congress, precisely a deputy chief minister one, and also talk about economically weaker sections. So there are glaring gaps and holes in some of the surveys and projections, and we must wait till 14th.
They did say we'll give you the deputy chief minister's chair, but the Congress didn't like the way he conducted himself.
That's a different story. But is he getting zero? Is he getting one?
Yeah, zero.
He's
At least for the first phase, zero.
So I see there is a lot of bandwagon approach also in the exit polls.
Which is what?
In the sense, bandwagon approach is quite.
You mean the horse is carrying the cart, or the cart is carrying the horse?
Okay, Rahul, yeah.
So I think, again, now at this moment, most pollsters are basically giving advantage to NDA and disadvantage to MGB. So we are discussing why MGB might have got it wrong. One thing which I think the opposition didn't do well is basically seat coordination, right? On 11 of those seats, they are so-called having friendly fights.
There's nothing called friendly
Second,
fight.
I think rather than peaking early, and maybe that's true, but what happened in the crucial weeks before nomination is that the opposition was not able to figure out who their candidates are. And so they were firefighting on the number of seats that they want to fight rather than running a serious campaign on the ground.
Right. Let's go across to a voice that is very, very mellifluous, very young. Maithili, namaste. Anand बोल रहा हूँ.
नमस्कार नमस्कार.
कैसी हैं आप? गला ठीक है आपका?
बहुत अच्छी हूँ जी. अब मैं रिकवर कर चुकी हूँ.
रिकवर कर चुके हैं. चुनाव में तो आपकी आवाज ही बैठ गई थी, इतना प्रचार करना पड़ा. पर बताइए, दरभंगा में सब ठीक है? सियाराम कहेंगे चुनाव के बाद?
सब बहुत सुंदर. जी जी जी.
कैसा गया बताइए?
मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत अच्छा रहा, और खासकर जो वोटर्स के बीच में जब जा करके उनके मन की बात को समझना, तो आसपास के क्या क्या सिचुएशंस हैं, क्या क्या काम करना है मुझे एक विधायक के तौर पर, उसका एक पर्सनल मैनिफेस्टो बनाना, तो ये सब मेरा एक काम रहा. और लोगों के बीच में जो एनडीए के लिए प्यार था, आशीर्वाद था, वो सब, क्योंकि मेरे क्षेत्र में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बुज़ुर्गों से इंटरेक्शन मेरा हुआ, महिलाओं से इंटरेक्शन हुआ, जितने हमारे यंग वोटर्स है, फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स है, उनसे इंटरेक्शन बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ. तो सब लोगों का मन है एनडीए को आगे ले करके जाने का.
बट एक बात बताइए कि प्रचार आसान है कि रियाज? बताइए.
दोनों में मैंने खूब मन लगाया है. रियाज क्या है, उसका जितना भी टफ पार्ट था वो मेरा बचपन से गुजर गया है. जो सर्दियों में बिना सोए आपको सुबह सुबह उठ करके रियाज करना, ये सब बहुत टफ रहा म्यूजिकल जर्नी भी। लेकिन यहाँ पे राजनीति में जीरो से शुरू किया है, तो शुरू में थोड़ा कठिन लगा, लेकिन अब बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
अमित शाह जी आपके लिए प्रचार करने के लिए आए, कैसा माहौल लग रहा है बीजेपी एनडीए के लिए?
सब पॉजिटिव लग रहा है। 14 तारीख को हम लोग बस उस जश्न की तैयारी करेंगे ऐसा।
हाँ, आप अपनी सीट में जीतेंगी, आपको
बिल्कुल मुझे लग
विश्वास
रहा
है?
है, मुझे पूरा विश्वास लगता है।
एक बात बताइए, आप महिला भी हैं, युवा भी हैं, क्या फैक्टर था बिहार में जहां पर लोगों ने बढ़ चढ़ के वोट दिया? किस मुद्दे पर, किस विषय पर? जैसा आपने सोचा था और फिर आप ग्राउंड पे गई, तो फिर आपका क्या अंडरस्टैंडिंग, लर्निंग क्या अलग था? वाज इट डिफरेंट?
जैसे कि मीडिया पे हम लोग मैं सोशल मीडिया की एक बहुत बड़ी कंज्यूमर रही हूँ, आपने जैसा मेरा जर्नी फॉलो किया होगा, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता था इस इलेक्शन से पहले, जब मैं राजनीति में एंटर नहीं की थी, कि जो जितना कुछ सोशल मीडिया पे दिख रहा है वही सब कुछ मतलब रियल है, हम लोग को वही रियल लगता था। जैसे कि मेरे प्रति विरोध जितना मैंने देखा, मैं बहुत डरी हुई थी कि जब मैं जाऊंगी तो मेरा साथ कौन देगा। लेकिन ऑन ग्राउंड जितने लोग मोदी जी को प्यार करते, नीतीश जी को प्यार करते, ये देख करके लगा कि सोशल मीडिया पे जो चल रहा है वो एक अलग ही दुनिया है, लेकिन ऑन ग्राउंड लोग बहुत ही ज़्यादा मन बना चुके हैं। और फैक्टर्स जैसा आपने पूछा, तो हमारे यंग लोगों को बहुत ही ज़्यादा उम्मीदें हैं जो एनडीए सरकार से आने वाले समय में बहुत ही कुछ अच्छा होगा, और इसको लेकर के सब वोट कर रहे हैं।
पर ऐसा लोग नहीं कहते थे कि नीतीश बाबू थक गए हैं, नीतीश बाबू चला पाएंगे कि सरकार? क्या ये उनकी लास्ट इलेक्शन है, बीजेपी वोट ले लेगी पर उनको मुख्यमंत्री नहीं बनाएगी? ये सब बातें चर्चा होती थी, आपसे कोई पूछता था नीतीश बाबू के बारे में ये सब?
ऑन ग्राउंड मैंने ये ऐसा कुछ नहीं सुना, और ये ओपोनेंट लोग टीवी पे बोलते हैं ये मैंने सुना है, लेकिन जब मैं लोगों के बीच गई तो बहुत ज़्यादा पॉजिटिव था सब कुछ।
हाँ, पर सब आपसे कुछ पूछते थे या सिर्फ आपको गाना गाने को कहते थे? एक बात बताइए।
सब मुझे
सबने आपको कहा
आशीर्वाद
होगा,
देते थे,
बहुत गाने को कहा
गाना
होगा।
गाए बिना तो कोई छोड़ते ही नहीं थे। सबसे पहले मुझे सुनते थे कि मैं क्या कहने आई हूँ, और सबसे पहली चीज लोगों के अंदर इस चीज को लेके भी बहुत उत्साह था कि मोदी जी ने मुझे प्रत्याशी के रूप पर अलीनगर में भेजा है। जैसा उन्होंने बोला था कि 1 लाख युवाओं को राजनीति से जोड़ेंगे जिनका कोई पॉलिटिकल बैकग्राउंड ना रहा हो, तो उसमें जब मेरा पहला नाम और एक एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर मुझे अलीनगर भेजा गया, तो लोग उस चीज को लेके भी काफी सराह रहे थे, मुझको और मोदी जी को भी। और ये हम लोग के लिए सौभाग्य की बात है कि अपने क्षेत्र में जाकर के काम करने का मौका मिल रहा है।
अच्छा, एक मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ, एक इंसिडेंट, कोई घटना बता दीजिए जिसकी वजह से आपको लगा हो कि जो मैंने निर्णय लिया वो सही लिया, द डिसीजन आई हैव टेकन इज द राइट वन। सम इंसिडेंट जो
शुरू के 4
आपको याद भी रहेगा। जी,
शुरू के 4 दिन आई वाज ट्रॉमेटाइज्ड फॉर रियल, बिकॉज नोबडी वर जस्ट, मैं कैसे उस फीलिंग को बताऊं। रोज 4 दिन मैं रो रो करके वापस अपने कमरे में जाती थी कि क्या मैं सही जा रही हूँ, क्या मैं सही कर पाऊंगी, क्या मुझे जो इतनी बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है मैं उसको जस्टिफाई कर पाऊंगी अपने पूरे इस जर्नी में। लेकिन 4 दिन के बाद जो मुझे शक्ति मिली ना, जब सारी महिलाएं मुझे शक्ति देती थी, मैं पर्सनली बहुत लोगों से जाकर के मिली, सबका आशीर्वाद लिया, और वो जो मोटिवेशन मिला ना कि मुझे अपने ऊपर इतना भरोसा हो चुका है कि चाहे कोई मुझे कितना भी विरोध करे, ट्रोल करे, लेकिन मैं अपने आप को अगले 5 साल में अच्छे से प्रूव करके दिखाऊंगी।
आपके गले में अभी भी खराश है, तो आज आपसे मैं आग्रह नहीं करूंगा, जिस दिन आप जीतेंगी, जिस दिन निर्णय आएगा उस दिन आपसे फिर बात करेंगे, तब आपसे खूब गवाएंगे, तब आपको फिर गाना होगा, तब तक गला आपका ठीक हो जाए, यही प्रार्थना है।
थैंक यू।
ऑलवेज अ प्लेजर स्पीकिंग विद यू मैथिली, थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू, नमस्ते।
नमस्ते।
So I think we have the overall state number now.
Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Interesting insight that she gave, that I realized as Gen Z that the social media world and what's happening on ground, the real world is very different. And that's a very candid admission that came from a first timer. Let's now look at the numbers. We got the full set of numbers from Bihar. Let's try and see what the updated numbers are, and we'll put out our numbers also, the News 18 mega exit poll numbers, after we take a look at the poll of polls, viewers. Let's see what the number is. There an upward, downward revision somewhere? Matriz has made an upward revision. Matriz has pushed those numbers up to 167. So it's looking stronger for the NDA. Look at JVC, says 150. Let's look at the higher numbers, and there are more numbers which are getting closer to the 160 mark at the upper end for the NDA. What's happening with the INDIA? Is there a downward revision? No. Chanakya strategy keeps it at 108, but JVC poll takes it to 103 and 102. So there are 4 pollsters who are actually giving the MGB the possibility of breaching the 100 mark, but yet falling nearly about 15 to 20, 20 to 22 short of the majority number. The other part, look at Jansuraj. He's drawn a blank. 3 years of effort there, trying to be the voice of the opposition or voice of the people against the ruling or the incumbent and displace the opposition. Has Prashant Kishore given it all, down the drain by deciding not to contest, or was what's happened there? One has to see. The others, well, there are some of them, some of the pollsters who are giving double-digit projections or near about double-digit projections to the others. Will that really manifest? Will the likes of VIP, will the likes of some of the other smaller parties within on both sides, NDA and all, turn out the strike rate or perhaps pull in the votes that they're supposed to? We have to wait and watch. But overall, if you were to see 1, 2, 3 pollsters, 4, if you were to take People's Pulse also, 4 pollsters are giving the NDA more than 160 or about 160 at the higher end. That means the target set by the NDA and Amit Shah at 160 is possible. There is no outlier so far. There is no outlier in all of these numbers so far, and one would wonder why. Usually, exit pollsters, there is somebody who's an outlier. This time, there is no outlier. They're all within a similar band, plus or minus 10 seats, but that's where they are. Everybody is giving them more than 130 seats, the NDA, but less than 170. And it's in that range for the NDA, and it's NDA all the way. There's nobody who's saying that the MGB has a chance. Now let's look at the breakup. This is the mega exit poll. Overall numbers for CNN News 18 and the News 18 network. 140 to 150 seats for the NDA, 85 to 95 seats for the INDIA. Jansuraj could get up to 5 seats, and the others are 5 to 10 seats. So who are these others? We'll look at the breakup. Let's take it across to our panel. Rahul Shivshankar, were you expecting 140 to 150, or will this be more? Or is it that this is a trend? And if this trend stays, then that 160 number could be breached.
Yes. So decisive, I think it's going to go to 170.
Yeah, it's going to swing the other way, right?
Either you have anti-incumbency or you don't have anti-incumbency. So it has to be either a sweep, and that's what Amit Shah has been saying, the Union Home Minister. In fact, in an interview to Rahul Joshi, Editor-in-Chief, he came out and said very clearly that I'm not expecting anything less than a 2/3. And if the voter is so decided and so decisive at a time when so many of them have come out, I don't see, and if there's a 4% or a 3.5% gap between the two, and the LJP is kicking in and so on and so forth, then I don't think this is
but the last time there was a 170 plus returns in the elections was in 2015 when the RJD and the JDU came together, and that tie-up was formidable because the caste bases came together, and
MGB had 114 last time. This time they are minus about 10-15 seats.
See, the 140 number seems very credible to me because on the ground, from my colleagues also who had travelled and who were travelling in interior, JDU had a lot of goodwill, Nitish Kumar had a lot of goodwill, but there was a feeling for BJP that they had no good state level leaders, there was no affection for their current lot of leaders, and there was also always a lot of doubt whether they would try and take on the Chief Minister's chair if voted. So it could happen that JDU's strike rate could be better, and that could be reflected.
Could it emerge as the single largest party?
Number two, I also want to say that in terms of whatever I have spoken to people after the first phase of polling, there is an apprehension about Jansuraj, about them cutting into votes, especially in urban areas among young people and young upper caste.
We'll see about that.
People.
But
so,
that
is one thing that needs to be
fundamental issue is, and Rahul Verma, please weigh in on this. Last time the NDA was 125. It was 3 above 122, which is the halfway mark. If all of these polls are right, you're basically looking at the NDA having expanded its voter base. If you have to go from 125 to at the very minimum 140 or at the outer end 170, which means you've added new voters. Who are these new voters?
The LJP
Maybe
guys
not,
who didn't
yeah,
vote.
38,
Who
39
didn't vote
plus
the
5
last time.
or 6% of LJP is already
So it's
45.
the LJP is the only differentiating factor.
Well, it's a big factor, right? Like
Okay.
it alone gives you a 45% sort of like range.
Then Upendra Kushwaha's outfit was not with these people.
Last time,
Not just that, there are voters who have not voted the last time have come on because the
Yeah.
voter percentage has gone up. No,
Yeah, yeah.
There is a significant jump. So there were voters who may have refrained from voting the last time around because they
also
were
mean that in the youngest state in
disenfranchised at that time.
Bihar is the youngest state in India. There is a youth bulge in Bihar.
Yeah.
It may mean that younger. We'll have to see the data. We haven't seen the data yet.
It may also mean
the new first-time voters are.
It may also mean that
over the
Zaka, it may also mean that 60 lakh people who had voted in Lok Sabha are not voting in this election.
No, but the 60 lakh people.
So half of them are dead. More than half of them are
those
dead.
60
lakh people are dead.
No, 60 lakh people did not vote. They were part of the voter rolls, not necessarily that they voted Rashid
I mean,
Kidwai.
potentially, anybody who's in a voter
I would
list-
request you to frame your sentence very carefully.
No,
They didn't vote
potentially-
there, sir. They were
no,
part of the
poten-
voter rolls.
How do you know? If you are in
They
a
were
voter
part of the
list,
voter
whether you
rolls and
voted
they've
or
been
you're not
removed.
voted,
They're
that's
part of the voter rolls,
I'm
they've
just
been removed.
pointing a
Sir,
glaring
the largest
omission.
number of
No,
voters
what
will
I'm
be
saying is
removed
absolute
were
number of
deceased
voters.
voters.
Absolute number of voters may have come down overall, but the absolute number of voters has also gone up because the rise in percentage is disproportionate to that. But you're saying something.
The absolute number of voters, according to the EC figures, the only thing that they haven't revealed is how many of them were so-called Ghuspetiyas. But the fact is, a large number of them were deceased voters, or voters that had left the state. That was around 85% of the voters that have been excommunicated from the voter rolls. So I'm only stating a fact.
No, in double engine ki sarkar, how can there be so many Ghuspetiyas?
No, but they've not revealed the Ghuspetiyas.
Now we are digressing.
They've not.
80% of them were.
But
they
what
were
does that
part
tell
of the
you?
They were.
Rahul? Why have they not revealed the
were
number of illegals?
Look, why are you putting
They were
me in
part
a
of the
situation where, let's
they were
let's
part
talk
of the
about the
rules,
most
but they
definitive
didn't
issues
vote.
of this election.
But the larger question, but Sandeep ji, if you were to look at it, does the NDA show that they can manage alliances better? The BJP show that. Does the BJP realize what are the factors and they're ready to course correct faster than the MJP does?
I think it's clear if these numbers hold that the NDA's alliance chemistry has been much more effective. It's important to highlight the fact that if these numbers hold, the two principal parties within the NDA, the BJP and the JDU, have done well. And on the other hand, in the Mahagathbandhan, it may well be that the RJD continues to do as well as it did last time, but its partners within the alliance, especially the Congress, has been the weak link, and that has contributed to the Gathbandhan being where it is in the exit polls that are seen. So if what the exit polls show us actually shows up on Friday also, then it indicates that the alliance chemistry for the NDA has been very, very effective, and the alliance coming together in the Mahagathbandhan had its serious challenges.
Well, we're waiting for the vote share projections. The vote share projections would also make the difference because the last time around it was less than 2%.
The vote share is very important. If you have a 4.5% gap, and I've seen a couple of other polls now on social media, and they seem to be projecting a 4.5% gap. And if you look at the new voters that have come in, that's a very significant jump. And that shows that if you're winning every constituency on an average by 4.5–5%, I don't see why you wouldn't be crossing into a territory that's suggestive of a sweep rather than just a plain and simple majority. It'll be like, the elections that we have seen in some of the other states.
No, but then what does that mean in terms of look at this, when the BJP is its weakest in 2024, between June 2024 to November 2025, some of the most landmark decisions have been made when perhaps the BJP at the center has looked the weakest. At a time when perhaps they wanted the likes of Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar to back them, and if they pull back support the BJP, and this NDA will not stand. But look at how they manage both CBN and also Nitish Babu in this. If they have helped Nitish Babu become the strongest ever in the recent times.
I mean, we have the individual party breakups.
We have the individual party breakups. We'll try and
breakups.
put that up also in terms of the individual party breakups. Just checking if we have those numbers up.
So,
okay, in 30 seconds, yeah.
So, in the NDA, the BJP is projected to get between 55 and 65. The JDU is projected to get between 60 and 70. So it's likely, I mean, certainly according to the News 18 poll, the JDU will be the single largest party. It'll have more seats than the BJP.
The JDU numbers are?
The JDU is between 60 to 70 and the BJP is between 55 to 65. So that's a significant bump up for the JDU. The harm is between 0 to 5. The LJP is between 10 to 15. So he's again at a strike rate of almost 50%. If he gets 15 at the higher end out of the 29 that he contested, that's almost a strike rate of 50%. On the other side, in the India alliance, the RJD is projected to get between 50 to 60, which is down about 15. Even at the higher end of 60, that's down about 15 compared to the 75 that they had last time.
But you know, Zach, on the numbers that you're doing for the NDA, if you look at the mean of both the BJP and the JDU, they by themselves are enough to get
past the halfway mark.
Yes, just by a whisker, but
yeah.
They don't even need the others.
But interestingly, the Congress, and everybody has sort of been talking about the Congress and how badly it's doing. If you actually look at it, they got 19 last time. Yeah. Our News 18 exit poll is suggesting they'll get between 15 to 20. So even if they fall, it's pretty much in the territory of what they got last time around. The CPI, ML, CPI, all the left parties put together between 10 to 15. The VIP party is projected to get 4. Which is
what they got last time.
Which is what they got last time as well.
But so this, Zaka, is...
Sorry, 0 to 5, sorry. So it could
Zaka,
it could be more or less.
The Network 18 exit poll, if the numbers hold, is an exact replication of... pretty much it says that nothing has changed since June 2024. Because you're looking at 50 to 60 seats for 60 to 70 seats for the JDU. The JDU won about 72 assembly segments last year.
So the JDU did better than the BJP last time around in the Lok Sabha.
Exactly. The BJP won 68 in the Lok Sabha. This time our projection is 55 to 65, so pretty much the same number. The RJD seems to have done better because the RJD is 50 to 60 in our projection.
Yeah.
It won 36 segments in 2004. The Congress is 15 to 20 and it won about 12 segments in 2004. So pretty much, and the new factor is LJB, of course.
Yeah. No, so also Nistula was asking about the JSP. So the News 18 exit poll projects that the JSP, Jan Suraj, will get between 5 to 10 seats. You think that would justify
Let's just check if
debut? I mean,
so I think we've got the party-wise numbers. We'll try and look at the party-wise numbers. I'm going to get up and see if we can get the party-wise numbers as far as the there you go. NDA takes the lead, but the numbers as we put out. Phase 2 exit polls, NDA not just 140 to 150 seats, but we want the party-wise breakup and talk about that because within the NDA, the JDU emerges as the single largest party. But overall, as far as the News 18 mega exit polls, who's the single largest party? Is it the RJD or the
JDU?
The JDU. So the JDU becomes the single largest party. And that means Nitish Babu and the JDU are firmly established. There were many who were saying, is the JDU going to dissipate? Is it going to break away into multiple factions? Who after Nitish? The survival, etc.
I have to say this. I've just been corrected by our pollster. JSP is 0 to 5, not 5 to 10. 5 to 10 would have been a big splash.
Jan Suraj party 5 to 10 would have been a big splash. It's 0 to 5. So Jan Suraj party is 0 to 5. Yes, Rahul.
So I want to make one point on why, even if the Rahul Shiv Shankar, if there is a 4% lead, it may not turn into a sweep because like that 4% sweep does not, 4% lead does not mean it will hold in every constituency. Seat conversion always depends on the distribution of votes. So it is possible that an MGB is able to convert seats in some concentrated pockets and that might be Simanchal. So constituencies that have sizable, say, Muslim and Yadav population, which might be touching somewhere in 40% or 50%, they are much more likely to
be. That's what Rajiv Rudy was also saying.
So,
there's 70 seats where MY
my point was...
Now we have this breakup at the bottom of it.
Rahul Verma, my point was that a party like the RJD, which is a cadre-based party with very definitive vote banks, if they are not being able to breach a particular vote share despite their very strong concentrated support, then there's a problem. And that's why I feel that there might be actually a runaway for the...
No, but see, I think, like, again, on this number, why this is a possibility. The second thing which is happening is that BJP is losing seats, right? BJP had last time 74 seats and this time the projection is from 55 to 65, which means someone is picking up BJP's vote and bringing their strike rate down. And so here,
It could be
JSP
the
might
Jan
not
Swaraj.
be actually winning
Yeah.
seat,
Yes.
but
So it's
actually
actually hurting.
chipping up
Jan
the
Swaraj.
So
votes.
rather than hurting the RJD, it is actually hurting
It
the...
may be hurting both.
It may be
always
hurting
meant to
both.
hurt
It may be hurting both.
NDA.
Look at the Congress party, 15 to 20 seats. Now, so 19 seats, they were confident of retaining those 19 seats. That doesn't seem like happening. They hurt the RJD also in this case overall. The BJP are happy to play second fiddle in Bihar because they've literally, virtually, the JDU is resurrected. So far they said, who after Nitish Kumar, what's going to happen after Nitish Kumar. Now JDU emerges as the strongest party in Bihar, almost close to, much ahead and much better. Does that not mean something, Rashid Kidwai, as to who's managing their allies and alliances better?
See, Anand, it's a alliance that Congress and RJD had gone in. There were a lot of sort of corrections were made in the intra-alliance ticket distribution, etc. Many of the contests have been between BJP, JDU, and Congress. It's not that Congress is versus HAM or versus LGP. So these are the sort of contradictions are there in this. So it's not the weak versus weak. It is the strongest versus weakest kind of contest.
Meanwhile, the voting percentage, the voting turnout is at 68.52%.
Yeah.
This is at 7 p.m.
So last time, first phase was 65, this phase is 68, so roughly about 66,
Rahul, you may recall
67.
in Madhya Pradesh also what happened. The BJP went on to win with a bigger margin over the incumbent government, and they won with a so to say landslide. So if there is an incumbent government, and if there is very little, that's what I'm saying, opposition can do. If people have more and more faith in a chief minister, then obviously that person is going to win.
No, but that doesn't mean you just give up.
I would like to
remind,
I would like to tell Rashid about his own article that he wrote recently on reflecting on Zohran Mamdani and what the Congress party could learn or the opposition could learn, which is to build a political program around what people are worried about rather than lecturing them on what they should be worried about. And maybe that is an important factor in building up a opposition fight back.
In Kerala, in Assam, etc. In Bihar, basically, it was Tejashwi's election. The entire politics revolved around Tejashwi. If Tejashwi has succeeded, the Congress
if it was Tejashwi's election, then shouldn't Rahul Gandhi have done what Tejashwi wanted him to do rather than him going and pushing this entire vote chori bogie?
No, declaring him
he didn't want they were not even campaigning together towards the end. They were cancelling each other's rallies because people didn't want to see Rahul Gandhi there at all. So the Congress was not adding value, it was actually
I saw one survey where the difference between
who is Congress's new face?
Priyanka Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi was less than 10%.
Sir, you can see whatever poll. Look at it on ground. Did the RJD want Rahul Gandhi in their rallies? Ask your own.
Looking at polls. Don't deny polls.
Sir, simple Bihar made. Did they want to see Rahul Gandhi or did they want to see? Did they want to see Tejashwi? Did Tejashwi agree with vote chori?
In Bihar,
did Tejashwi agree with vote chori? Did Tejashwi agree with the vote chori plank, or did he say let's focus on jobs, let's focus on BARD, let's focus on these issues? Did Rahul Gandhi talk about that?
I'm saying there is no vote chori. Free and fair elections is something very different from what we see electoral contest and the outcome of it.
Sir,
please don't try to correlate.
दानी वाला लॉजिक आप लगाइए, आप बताइए राहुल गांधी ने इशू चुना या बोला कि इस पे वरी करो.
We can talk till the cows come home about what Rahul Gandhi could have done and so on. But it seems to me that the structural problems of the Congress remain the same. In 2024 there was an opportunity for the Congress. It seems to have not learned those lessons. So you keep every election now seems to be like a facsimile of the previous one, where the Rahul Gandhi gets the headlines, has this, and now has a new discourse of elections being lost. But on the ground, the problem is not having the electoral machinery. And
but that
there's
was
no
not
investment
the case in
2018. It seems to be Achilles heel. So is it a failure of imagination or is it a failure of execution?
But enough of the Congress.
Since 1989.
But there is also a message, Sandeep Shastri ji, you figure there's a message for the BJP also. If the BJP is doing a 55 or a 60% strike rate, that's very poor strike rate or performance for the BJP electoral machinery. They do not agree to anything less than 70% or 75%. This is very bad strike rate. So is there a message there that the BJP local leadership is not working?
Now I think if these numbers, at least the details within each alliance holds, I think not projecting Nitish Kumar as the chief minister candidate could have made a difference. The fact that the BJP was not able to project any of its state level leaders and their whole campaign was around the persona of the Prime Minister. Now that factor, that in the Bihar elections you were not able to project a state level leader. In the Bihar elections, the NDA was not able to project a chief ministerial face. Now that factor, I think, if these numbers hold, would indicate that the JDU was able to do better because they were rallying behind their leader, whereas the BJP was focusing on the party campaign without a state level leadership phase. And that, if these numbers hold, I think that could have contributed to the challenging strike rate which the exit poll seems to show. But then,
if Nitish was not the chief minister faces, why would the JDU do well? If Nitish was not on a solid position and Nitish had not been projected, why did the JDU do well? But there is a point you make where you say that the BJP's local leadership
was not projected
is hollow
by the
there.
NDA, but projected by the JDU. JDU was projecting Nitish. The NDA was not projecting Nitish. This, I think, is a difference we need to keep in mind.
Right. Just quickly taking the individual parties and look at this. The more left the Congress goes, the higher the left goes. The left is rising at the cost of the Congress party's left position. That's what's happening. Look at, this is what the numbers say, sir. Look at the number of seats the left have contested, the number of seats the Congress is contesting, and what the News 18 mega exit poll numbers show, that the left could actually win more seats than the Congress itself. Rashid Kidwai, and to our viewers, look at the JDU. The JDU strike rate significantly better than the BJP. 55 to 65 for the BJP. It may emerge as the second largest party if these numbers hold, if these projections hold. RJD, the third party, the single largest party, could be Nitish Kumar and the JDU. LJP 10 to 15 seats, not a bad strike rate for the 29 seats they are contesting in. They seem to be doing better than the Congress. And they seem to... Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Vijay Sinha ji is with us. Vijay Sinha ji, namaste. Thank you very, very much. मैं आनंद बोल रहा हूँ, मेरे साथ जाका और राहुल शिवशंकर हैं. मैं पहला प्रश्न आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा, एग्जिट के रुझान पर आप क्या कहेंगे?
देखिए, बिहार की जनता का जो भावना का प्रकटीकरण है, डबल इंजन की सरकार, देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और बिहार के मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी के अनुभव और इनके द्वारा विकास के किए गए कार्यों पर उनका बटन दबा है, उत्साहित हो करके बटन दबाए हैं। 2010 में भी आप देखेंगे इसी तरह की जनता के बीच उत्साह था, हम तो लोगों के बीच भी गए हैं। और आज 2020 में 57% और आज 67% से ऊपर, ये 10% का डिफरेंस SIR के बावजूद, घुसपैठिए को हटाने के बावजूद, मृतक को हटाने के बाद, ये उत्साह बिहार के विकास, बिहार के सामाजिक सौहार्द और बिहारी के सम्मान का ये परिणाम है।
देखिए नीतीश बाबू और
परिणाम है और बेहतर होगा।
जी, नीतीश बाबू और जेडीयू का स्ट्राइक रेट सबसे बढ़िया लग रहा है अभी तक के न्यूज़ 18 एग्जिट पोल के रुझान में। वो सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी होंगे, लेकिन भाजपा का परफॉर्मेंस थोड़ा डाउन दिख रहा है।
ये आपको मैं बता दें कि दोनों मिल करके गठबंधन चुनाव लड़ी है, बेहतर रिजल्ट आएगा और दोनों भाई के तरह हैं। परिणाम 19-20 हो सकता है, लेकिन परिणाम एनडीए का बहुत बेहतर रहेगा।
कहीं ना कहीं बीजेपी के लिए क्या ये मैसेज है कि लोकल लीडरशिप और लोकल परफॉर्मेंस जेडीयू का ठीक है, भरोसा ज्यादा है, बीजेपी का कम है? 55-60% का स्ट्राइक रेट आपका बीजेपी को शोभा नहीं देता, इलेक्टोरली मैं कह रहा हूं। जी
देखिए, ये एग्जिट पोल है, एग्जैक्ट परिणाम जब आएगा तो ज्यादा बेहतर उस पर चर्चा करना उचित लगेगा।
जी, 150 सीटों का रुझान दिख रहा है अभी एनडीए के लिए। आपको लगता है 160 का नंबर पार होगा?
नहीं, मैं तो, मेरा अनुमान जो अपना है, हमने सारे विधायकों से, उम्मीदवारों से भी बात किए थे।
हाँ।
और मैं बता दूं कि 175 से 200 अगर जो उत्साह बढ़ा है,
हाँ।
ये परिणाम वहां तक भी जा सकता है, क्योंकि मैं 90 के दशक से लड़ रहा हूं
जी,
और 2010 को भी हमने बहुत नजदीक से देखा था
जी,
और वही उत्साह पब्लिक के बीच में इस बार हमने देखा है। मेरा वोटर साइलेंट है, महागठबंधन के वोटर रोड पर हंगामा और हल्ला करने वाले लोग हैं, इसलिए परिणाम और बेहतर जाएगा।
बेहतर। तो आप कह रहे हैं रुझान 175 तक जा सकता है, बहुत ही ज्यादा स्विंग हो गया तो बहुत रिकॉर्ड तोड़ नंबर भी आ सकते हैं। विजय सिन्हा जी, न्यूज़ 18 की टीम की तरफ से आपको और सभी को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, और चुनाव जिस दिन आएगा, परिणाम जिस दिन आएगा 14 तारीख को, आपसे फिर भेंट करेंगे।
धन्यवाद।
Namaste. On that note, we're going to take a very, very short break. Stay with us.
Co-presented by. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
On the cleric whose link has now emerged to all of these doctors and those moving from Jammu and Kashmir to Al-Falah University. This is a big CNN News 18 exclusive. We are decoding this man who's becoming an important figure behind this attack, Maulvi Irfan, who seems to have played a crucial role in radicalizing these medical doctors and students. He was a paramedic in exactly this college that we were talking about, in the Government Medical College in Srinagar, and was in touch with all students where they all studied. Later, he was an imam in Nagaon Mosque. Remember, Nagaon is also the area where those posters emerged first. So it's all really a web of link between all of these individuals and these places. For more on this, let me go across to my colleague Anand, who continues to be with us. Anand.
Well, this was the question, isn't it? Who was the person and how did these educated individuals get radicalized? That question is being answered by this fact that it is Maulvi Irfan who's the link towards radicalizing all these individuals.